Welcome, dear learners. Today I am going to discuss about the values of biodiversity. This lecture is in continuation of earlier lectures. In earlier lectures, we have discussed about the importance and status of biodiversity and gradations of biodiversity. So let's get started. As I have discussed in earlier lectures, biodiversity represents the incredible variety of life on Earth, including the diversity within species, among the species, and across the ecosystems. It forms the foundation of ecosystem stability and resilience, ensuring the natural processes like nutrient cycling, pollination, and climate regulation continue to support life. However, biodiversity's importance extends beyond ecology. It holds profound economic, cultural, ethical, and aesthetic significance. It provides essential sources such as food, medicine, and raw materials, while also inspiring human creativity and spiritual connection. Recognizing and valuing biodiversity helps society to understand the urgent need for its conservation and sustainable management of natural resources for future generations. Biodiversity values are broadly classified into two main categories, that is, value use and non-value use. Value use refers to direct and indirect benefits humans derive from the biodiversity, while as non-use values reflect the intrinsic and ethical importance of biodiversity. This particular flowchart gives an idea what we are going to discuss in the coming slides in the lecture, where we will discuss in detail use values, non-use values, ethical values, cultural, social use values, and aesthetic values. Direct use values represent the tangible benefits that humans obtain directly from organisms and ecosystems. These are essential goods that support daily life, livelihoods, and economic activities. Conceptual use value include products that are directly used or consumed without entering the market, such as food, grains, fruits, meat, and fish, fuel wood, timber, medicinal plants, fiber, resins, and oils. These resources are particularly vital for rural and indigenous communities that rely heavily on natural ecosystems for sustenance and healthcare. For instance, it is estimated that over 80% of the rural population in developing countries depend on wild plants and herbs for their primary healthcare needs. Under the direct use values, productive use value refers to the goods and resources derived from the biodiversity that are commercially traded in markets and contribute significantly to national and global economies. These include products developed or extracted from natural sources for industrial, agricultural, and pharmaceutical purposes. For example, many life-saving drugs such as quinine, penicillin, and Taxol are derived from plants, fungi, or other biological sources. Similarly, genetic resources from wild species are used to improve crop varieties and livestock breeds, enhancing food security and resilience. Biodiversity also provides raw materials like latex, dyes, and perfumes that support various industries and sustain economic development worldwide. Indirect use value represent the benefits people gain from ecological functions and services provided by ecosystem, which are essential for maintaining life and human well-being. These services operate in background yet sustain all economic and biological activity on Earth. Ecological services include vital processes such as climate regulation, where forests and oceans act as carbon sinks to balance atmospheric gases, soil formation and nutrient cycling by decomposers, which maintain fertility, and pollination by bees, bats, and birds that ensure agriculture productivity. Additionally, wetlands purify water and recharge aquifers, while vegetation controls floods and prevents soil erosion, protecting both ecosystems and human settlements. Indirect use values also encompass the aesthetic, recreational, educational, and scientific benefits that biodiversity provide, enriching human life in non-material ways. The aesthetic and recreational values of biodiversity are reflected in activities like nature tourism, bird watching, trekking, and ecotourism, which not only generate income but also foster environmental awareness and appreciation. Scenic landscapes and natural environments contribute to mental relaxation and emotional well-being. The educational and scientific values of biodiversity lie in its role as as a living laboratory for learning and discovery. It offers models for research in genetics, biotechnology, and ecology, helping scientists understand ecosystem functions, evolutionary processes, and climate interactions that sustain life on Earth. Non-use values represent the intrinsic moral and cultural importance of biodiversity that it is independent of any direct or future human use. These values highlight the ethical responsibility to respect and protect all forms of life. The existence value arises from the satisfaction of simply knowing that species and ecosystems continue to exist even if one or never directly interact with them, such as people donating to protect endangered tigers and whales. The optional value reflects the potential future benefits of biodiversity, recognizing the unknown species, especially in rainforests, may hold curing for disease or new technologies. The biggest value emphasizes preserving biodiversity for future generation, upholding principles of intergenerational equity and sustainable stewardship of Earth's natural heritage. Ethical and moral values of biodiversity emphasize the inherent right of all living organisms to exist, regardless of their usefulness to humans. This perspective is rooted in the belief that every species contributes to the balance of nature and deserves respect and protection. Humans, of the most conscious being, have a moral responsibility to act as custodians rather than owners of biosphere, ensuring that their actions do not endanger other forms of life. Many indigenous traditions and world religions such as Hinduism, Buddhism, and Native American beliefs uphold a deep reverence for nature, advocating harmony, compassion, and coexistence with all living beings. Cultural and social values of biodiversity highlight its deep connection with human traditions, beliefs, and ways of life. Across the world, biodiversity shapes traditional knowledge, folklores, and spiritual practices, forming the foundation of many cultural identities. Sacred groves, totems, animals, and rituals honoring natural demonstrate how ecosystems are woven into cultural and religious traditions. These practices not only promote reverence for nature but also contribute to conservation. However, when biodiversity is lost, communities often lose their cultural heritage, indigenous knowledge, and spiritual connection to the land. Thus, conserving biodiversity also means preserving cultural fabric and identity of human societies. Aesthetic and inspirational values of biodiversity reflect the profound impact of nature's beauty on human creativity, emotions, and spiritual well-being. The diversity of landscapes, colors, sounds, and forms of in nature has long inspired art, music, literature, and philosophy, shaping cultural expressions across civilizations. From poetic descriptions of flowers and forests to painting of wildlife and mountain biodiversity stimulate imagination and appreciation of life's harmony. Beyond creativity, nature provides a sense of peace, reflection, and renewal, helping people to find balance in an increasingly urbanized world. Preserving biodiversity, therefore, sustains not only ecosystems but also an inspiration that enriches human culture and spirit. This summary table gives us an overview of various uses of the biodiversity, in which concept to use, that is food, fuel, and medicine, and product to use, that is timber for trade or pharmaceuticals, that is commercial exploration, and indirect use, that is pollination, climate change, that are in ecosystem services. Optional value, that is genetic resources for the future. Then extra existence value, that is wildlife protection, value for mere existence. And biggest value, that is conservation for the future generation. And aesthetic or ethical value, that is inspiration and moral duty. To wrap up all the details we have discussed, the values of biodiversity go well beyond mere economic benefits, encompassing ecological stability, ethical obligations, and cultural significance. Biodiversity underpins ecosystems' functions, supports human livelihoods, and provides spiritual, aesthetic, and scientific inspirations. Recognizing these diverse values encourage a holistic approach to conservation, where protecting species and ecosystems align with promoting human well-being, respecting moral duties, and preserving cultural heritage. By integrating ecological knowledge with ethical and social considerations, societies can ensure sustainable management of natural resources, safeguarding biodiversity for present and future generations while maintaining the delicate balance of life on Earth. Thank you for watching.